Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. Finally, we have had the confirmation that Ashley Young has signed for Everton Football Club. The club confirmed today that Ashley Young has become Everton's first signing of the summer on a free transfer, agreeing a one-year deal until the end of June 2024. The former England international, who has 39 caps for the Three Lions, adds valuable experience and versatility to Sean Dyche's squad and arrives boasting a trophy-laden career, which has included winning the Premier League, Serie A, Europa League, FA Cup and League Cup. Young has spoken about his move to Everton. He said, "I'm delighted to be an Everton player and to have joined this massive club. I can't wait for the season to start, and walking out at Goodison Park is going to be an unbelievable feeling, and to hear the passionate fans behind me. The manager was important in me signing. I know him. I know what his passion and desire is like. His honesty, will to work, and his hunger for the game is second to none. I know things haven't gone too well for Everton in the past couple of seasons, but the manager's ambition, speaking to him and hearing what he wants to do to change the club around was a key factor in my decision. The other is the size of Everton. It's a massive club and the fan base is one of the best. Having them behind me is a fantastic opportunity. I'm delighted to get the opportunity to be here and I just want to get started now." Young has met up with the rest of the Everton squad over in Switzerland ahead of tomorrow's friendly. Sean Dyche has spoken about the signing. He said, "Ashley is a top-class professional whose record of team and personal achievements during his successful career make him an excellent addition to this squad. I've known Ashley for many years, having been his captain when he first broke through at Watford, and his qualities both on and off the pitch will prove valuable. His impressive statistics from last season, which were among some of the best in Europe, highlight what he can bring to Everton." Ashley Young then went on to say, "I think that a lot of qualities I can bring to the team, and that's why the club went out of their way to sign me. I just want to get down to work and show the qualities I've got. Wherever the manager needs me, I know I can go and do a job at a high level. I've always said age is just a number for me. I feel as fit as I have ever done, even than when I was younger." Pardon the pun. Whenever the manager calls upon me, I'm going to be fit and ready to go. I hope to use my experience in the squad too. For me, I've been there and done it, and if I can lend a voice to a younger player, that's fantastic. When you go on that pitch, there is one captain, but there are 11 leaders. Everyone on the pitch, everyone is on the pitch to do a job, and everyone has got a voice. It's about helping each other out, having a good team spirit, and winning games of football." So there you go. Finally, we have had the news announced. Everton's first signing for over 300 days. I believe the last permanent signing for the football club was Eldon Jakupovic, who never, ever, ever made an appearance for Everton and left about 6 months later. And finally, we have had another signing. First of the summer. Hopefully the first of many signings as well during this summer transfer window. And yeah, we spoke about this one a couple of days ago. For me, it's a sensible bit of business. I understand that not a lot of people are particularly excited by it. I understand that not a lot of people are particularly enthused by it. But, we are in a position as a football club at the moment where we have to accept that if we are wanting Everton to make 3, 4, 5, 6 signings this summer, which we need to make because there are positions on the pitch that we need to improve as a matter of urgency, and there are multiple positions in that in that sort of bracket. We know we need a forward, striker. We know we need a winger. We know we need an attacking midfielder. We know we need a centre back. We know we possibly need a left back as well. And if we are wanting to improve on all of those positions, or certainly the majority of those positions, then we have to understand and acknowledge that given the financial position that Everton are in, and given the situation of the football club over the last 2 seasons, we are going to need to make a couple of these types of signings where, it might be older players, more experienced players coming in on a free transfer that can come in, that can do a job, not particularly high wages, not a massive contract, but ultimately can come in and can work hard, can do a job, and is somebody that the manager can trust. I was sitting here yesterday and thinking about this sign, and I likened it personally to when you used to have to, buy a memory card. Remember in the olden days when you used to want to, buy a game for your PlayStation 2 or whatever. It's not like it is nowadays where the consoles come packed with enough memory to hold games, when you first buy them. Back in the day when you used to buy a PlayStation 2, you'd get the PlayStation 2, which was the flashy bit of the thing. You'd run, oh, I'm dead excited, I'm going to buy me PlayStation 2, I can't wait to play the games. Then you'd buy a game for 30, 40 quid, whatever it might be. Oh my god, this is great, I'll buy another controller, oh my god. But none of it would have worked, none of it would have been useful without that little £5-10 memory card that you had to buy in order to store the game. And you were never excited to go and buy that £5-10 memory card because it was just a memory card. It didn't do anything, it just sat in the console. But you needed it in order to be able to use the other bits and bobs that you were excited about. So similarly with this, again, it mightn't be the most exciting signing in the world. It mightn't be, a signing that we're all sitting here now thinking, oh my god, Everton are going to be unbelievable next season because we've signed Ashley Young. We're going to be absolutely fantastic. But what he is a necessity for the situation that Everton are in. He can play in multiple different positions. He's versatile. He's played left back and right back throughout his career and played an even number of games in both positions. He can play further up the pitch, of course. Started his career as a wide player, a winger, went to Manchester United and was very successful there, winning a Premier League title as the club mentioned them. In that higher up position, he's still incredibly fit and he's still ultimately playing at the highest level. Yes, he's 38 years old, and yes, I appreciate that people don't necessarily want Everton to be signing players of that age, and I understand and I appreciate that business model of signing 38-year-old players isn't one that we want to adopt going forward. But we have to accept the position that we are in as a football club, and that position is, if we want to go out and spend 15-20 million pounds on a striker, then we're going to need to be able to bring in more experienced players for next to nothing, who maybe are a little bit older in the other positions that we need to strengthen in, because we haven't got an unlimited amount of money. We can't go out and spend 20 million on a left back, 20 million on a striker, 20 million on a winger. We simply can't do that. And I said in the live stream the other day, would you rather us spend £22 million or 20 million quid, let's say, and I'm just bringing that figure out the air, by the way, but would you rather us go and spend that on a striker or an attacking winger and then bring in a left back that's, a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, coming in for a free, hopefully he'll be able to do a job, but it's not a massive issue if he doesn't do a job? Or would you rather us go and spend 20-30 million pounds on a left back and then have to bring in an experienced striker who's 38 years old, who mightn't necessarily do a job, but he might do a job? I'm sure every single one of us would rather spend that money in those attacking areas where we need it, where we need goals, where we need, match winners, etc., etc. And that means we're going to have to settle for older, experienced players that, can fill in the other positions. And let's not forget as well, pardon me, yes, Ashley Young might be 38 years old, and yes, Ashley Young might be coming towards the end of his career, in the sense of that, not many fullbacks play at the highest level into their 40s, but we're still talking about a player who played an awful lot of football in the Premier League last season for Aston Villa, somebody who was pretty vital in keeping Aston Villa where they were and ultimately them finishing in a European position. It's easy to look at his age and look at, how old he is, and as I said, the fact that he's coming towards the twilight of his career and think, oh, what an awful signing that is. But we're not talking about somebody that's just been and played in a third, fourth, division league, tier league for the last 4 or 5 years, and we're bringing him back to the Premier League. He played 29 Premier League games last season, scored 1 goal. 29 Premier League games at 37, 38 years old just shows how important he was to that Aston Villa team. An Aston Villa team, by the way, that finished in a European position. We're talking about an Ashley Cole, who 2 or 3 years ago was playing in Serie A and was winning the league title with Inter Milan. This isn't a player who's been away for 5, 6, 7 years and has not played at the top level for that long, and we're now bringing him back, hoping he can do a job. He's played at the top level last season. He played for Aston Villa, a team who finished in a European position for large parts of the season. During those latter stages of the season, he was big for them. A lot of Aston Villa fans are on social media saying that they didn't want to let him go. They wanted him to sign an extension. They wanted him to stay. They think he'd be a valuable member of the squad for Europe next season. So I'm not trying to say we should be excited about this and we should be grateful and we should this, that and the other. As I said, I've said this before and I'll say it again, I'll never defend Everton Football Club for the sake of it. I've never had anything from Everton Football Club and I won't sit here and defend them for any other reason unless I genuinely believe they should be defended, because I'm the first to criticise them when they need criticising. But the reality of the situation is this isn't a bad bit of business by any sense of the imagination. It isn't a bad bit of business by any sense of the imagination. He's come in for a free. He'd probably be on, 30 odd grand a week, 35 grand a week, which was probably around about the same amount, maybe less than what Andros Townsend was on, who sat, in the injury room for an entire year. And I'm not saying that's his fault, but I'm saying those wages were being paid for the player we couldn't use. We've obviously got the Tom Davies wage back, Yerry Mina's wage, etc., from players that we've allowed to leave this summer. 30 odd, 25, 30, 35 grand a week probably isn't particularly that much. He's come in for a year, so if he doesn't do well and he ultimately doesn't work, then he leaves next summer. If he does do well and he does work, then maybe the club think about giving him an extension, or maybe we're in a better position next season, hopefully, to go out and bring in another younger option. Yes, I appreciate it's not particularly exciting. Yes, I appreciate it's not a signing we're all going to be jumping around for, but some of the best signings Everton have ever made have been signings that we haven't particularly been excited about. Was anybody ecstatic when we signed Gareth Barry those years ago? No, we were all made up about Romelu Lukaku and James McCarthy, but it was almost like, oh, well, we're bringing in Gareth Barry, he'll bring experience, and yeah, he might play a few games, but yeah, not particularly exciting. He was our player of the year that year, or certainly one of them, and ended up being fantastic for Everton. Even Andros Townsend, all right, he wasn't absolutely unbelievable, and he spent the entirety of last season out injured, but he scored some big goals in some big moments in big games, and he did well for us at times. And if he hadn't have been injured for the entirety of last year, who knows, he might still be an Everton player today. So again, it mightn't be the most enthusiastic and the most exciting signing in the world, but it's definitely one that makes sense for me, and it's definitely one that Everton need, in the sense of that we needed somebody that could come in, fill in a number of different positions, bring experience, bring leadership. He's also a whiner, which is horrible when you're playing against him, but absolutely unbelievable when he's on your team. And by that, what I mean is he'll moan to the referees, he'll complain, he'll cry, he'll this, that and the other. The dark arts of football, as they call it, which some people don't like, but let's be honest, in modern day football, you need that, because all of the best teams in the world have got players that do that, and Everton haven't got enough of them and haven't had enough of them for the last few years. So that's something as well. He obviously speaks very passionately about playing for Everton and joining this football club, and I always say this when we read out the interviews of new players. I don't pay too much attention to them, because a lot of it is just the general stuff that you expect a new signing to say about joining a football club, and I understand and I appreciate that, but it's still a good interview. He speaks candidly about, bringing his experience and bringing his leadership and having a voice on the pitch, which will be important as well. And I don't see anything wrong with this signing. If Ashley Young is the only player Everton signed this summer, then yes, fine. I will be extremely frustrated by it. Or if Everton go out and sign another 3 or 4 38-year-olds, then yeah, fine. I'll be, I'll be frustrated with it. But let's just say, for argument's sake, and this is just for argument's sake at this point, but let's just say Everton go out and bring in, Anthony Elanga on loan, and then we go and get Danjuma on loan, and we go and spend a bit of money and get Nonso, and we bring in maybe a central midfielder with a bit of experience. Are we then sitting here and looking at the Ashley Young deal and thinking, oh, that's a terrible deal that he's 38? No, all of a sudden we're sitting here going, actually, versatile fullback, played at a very good level last year and done very well at that level, won a league title only a couple of years ago, experienced leader, won things, etc. All of a sudden, it makes more sense. And this deal does make a lot of sense, whether we like it or not, whether we're happy with it, whether we're ecstatic with it, whether we're over the moon with it, it makes sense. And that is the type of business that Everton haven't done enough of over the years. We haven't done enough of business that makes sense, and this does. And, if Ashley Young was costing us 10 million quid or 20 million quid, then yeah, I'd sit here and I'd say, that's silly. But he's not. He's coming in for nothing. The worst that can happen. The absolute worst that can happen is he doesn't really have an impact on the team next season. He doesn't do much. He doesn't really get in, and then he leaves for free next summer. And we go, all right, yeah, whatever. Didn't cost us anything, left for free. The best thing that could happen is he actually gets in this team, which is very possible because there's definitely an argument that he's better than Vitaly Mikalenko at left back. Even if he doesn't get in as a starter, he comes in, he's a valuable member of the squad, he brings that leadership, he comes in when we need him to come in, he can play right back, left back, he's an option, he's versatile, he'll go where the manager wants him, as he said himself. It's almost a no-brainer. And I appreciate the concerns regarding his age. I get all of that. But as I said, if this was a player who'd just been playing in, you know, I don't know, a second tier team in, I don't know, let's just say Italy or Germany or Spain or whatever for the last 4 or 5 years, then yeah, I'd have them concerns. But he wasn't. He played, you know, as we've just mentioned, over 20-odd games for a team that finished in a European position in the Premier League last season, keeping Luca Dean out the team in large parts of it. And I'm sure if you were to say to a lot of Evertonians, would you have Luca Dean back? I'm sure a lot of them would say yeah. So, for me, yeah, I appreciate it mightn't be particularly exciting. I appreciate it mightn't be one that we're all jumping around about, but I'm okay with this. I am okay with it, and I think when you actually look into Ashley Young and what he can bring and what he can do and you know, the structure of this deal, I think it makes a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense, whether we like it or not, whether we're excited about it or not. It makes a lot of sense, and hopefully this is the, you know, the kickstarter now. This signing, we've got one over the line. Hopefully now we start to see a ripple effect, and we start to really sort of act on bringing in other players that we do genuinely need, and we will genuinely need to spend money on forward players, a striker, a winger, you know, an attacking midfielder maybe. But yeah, I think contextually, when we look back at this summer transfer window, I think, you know, we'll be looking at this signing as quite a successful one. And yeah, hopefully we look back in a year's time and go, what a great signing that was. You know, even if he doesn't stay beyond a year because of his age or whatever, hopefully we look back and go, what a great signing that was, what a good bit of business that was. Yeah, it makes sense for me. It does make sense. And again, I'm not going to be sitting there now going, oh, Everton are going to win everything now because we've got Ashley Young. But I think it's a good move. I think it's a good move. And ultimately, as I said, hopefully it can be the the start now of some real sort of business being done, and hopefully, you know, now that one's through the door, we'll start to see a lot more over the coming weeks. So there you go. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Ashley Young has signed for Everton on a 1-year contract. For me, a smart bit of business. For me, I don't really see much wrong with it. And if you can provide me anything wrong with it, then I'll be willing to sort of discuss that. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Massive thank you for everybody watching live. If you have watched this as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts down below and we'll get involved with as many of them as we possibly can. We'll be back to talk more about transfer rumours and news over the next couple of days, so look out for that one. But until then, leave a like if you've enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you later.